funds spent by the national government contrary to the provisions of Article 223 of the Constitution, laid on the table of the House on Tuesday, 12th March 2024. Honorable Speaker, I submit.
Thank you. And now, honorable members, we can now go back to order number 8. You can announce the order. Oh, yes, okay. Let me give Leader of Minority, let me give you an opportunity. You had a point of order earlier.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I'll be rising on a point of order number 47.3. Point of order number 47.3. Honorable Speaker, but before I go there, and this is basically, let me just read it, if you allow me. A standing order number 47.3 is all about the Speaker determining the constitutionality of a motion or a bill before it is processed by the House. So I will not read it, it's clear. But Mr. Speaker, let me say this, that Speaker J.B. Muturi, a legal mind of no mean repute, on several occasions, and indeed his predecessors, but I'll just for the moment talk about the rulings by Speaker J.B. Muturi, both in the 11th and 12th parliaments, which I was privileged to serve in. If I pick a specific ruling he made on the 21st of December, 2021, it was a Speaker's ruling on the constitutionality of the Proceeds of Crime and Anti-Money Laundering Amendment Bill. It was Tuesday afternoon. At page 298 of that ruling, the Speaker J.B. Muturi had this to say, just paraphrasing him, that before I guide the House on the pertinent questions for determination, it is worth noting that Articles 3 and 10 of the Constitution oblige the Chair to respect, uphold, and defend the Constitution. As you are aware, all business that comes before the House is approved by the Speaker, and among other considerations, the Speaker applies his mind as to the constitutionality or otherwise of such business, as contemplated under Standing Order 47.3. Let me also hasten to add
Honorable
that
Wandai, just so that everyone can follow you, you're rising on Standing Order 47.3. 47.3.
Yes.
If the Speaker is of the opinion that any proposed motion is one which infringes, or the debate which is likely to infringe on any of the standing orders.
Yeah.
And the one is contrary to the Constitution. Okay, so which one are you referring to?
47.3.
No, I'm asking what particular part of the order paper are you referring to?
I am referring to, Honorable Speaker, I'm referring...
I just want to be able to follow you.
Yes. And I wish the House would be attentive, because I can't actually communicate.
Honorable members, I think let us consult in low tones. Order, honorable members.
Honorable Speaker, I am referring to the Statute Law Miscellaneous Amendments Bill, National Assembly Bill number 68 of 2023, which has since gone through the second reading and is destined for the Committee of the Whole. And that's why I am paraphrasing J.B. Muturi's ruling on this particular day, the 21st of December that year. I was just concluding it. Let me also hasten to add, that is J.B. Muturi speaking. Let me also hasten to add that notwithstanding the approval of any business by the Chair under the standing orders, it has now become an established parliamentary practice of this House that a question of the constitutionality or otherwise of any matter under consideration by the House may be raised at any stage of its consideration. Indeed, My predecessors and I have been invited on several occasions to guide the House on issues of constitutionality of various matters before the House. That's the point.
Okay, you've made your point. You've explained the standing order correctly, but that particular statute amendment bill that you're referring to is not on the order paper today, is it?
The Honorable Speaker, I wish you just listen to me first, then you can guide me. I just conclude, yes, what I'm saying here.
Yes.
The Honorable Speaker, I am well aware, yes, that the particular business is not on today's order paper. But I have mentioned that that particular business has been duly approved by the Speaker, and indeed, it has gone through the second reading stage. That is therefore within the remit of 47.3, and especially the ruling I have just referred to by Speaker J.B. Muturi. Honorable Speaker, I'll be very brief. Article 3, of course, has been elaborated by J.B. Muturi in his ruling. Article 10, I'm on a point of order, Honorable Speaker, and protect me, please, Honorable Speaker. I am on a point of order. You just
Honorable
take your time and respond.
Just let him finish.
Yes.
He's about to finish.
What is the...
Then you can...
What is the jittery about? I am on a point of order.
Honorable Chepkonga, you're out of order. Allow me to listen to him, then rule on it. You can't rule from your
Honorable
seat.
Speaker, thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, I'm particularly referring to the Value Added Tax Act of 2013 that this amendment bill is proposing to amend. Honorable Speaker, the first question is the VAT Act 2013 a money bill or not? The answer is, it is indeed a money bill. And the proposer of the bill is suggesting to delete section 268(2)(a). Honorable Speaker, money bills are provided for under Article 114 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker. Article 114 of the Constitution. And I will take you to Article 114, subarticle 2 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, Article 114, subarticle 2.
Honorable Wandai, because, like I've just asked you, that particular statute amendment bill is not presently before the House. It will be before the House in the coming days. Then you can be able to submit as you're submitting today, because now you're doing it in a vacuum.
Honorable
So even if I were to give a ruling, it's impossible to give a ruling as it is not before the House.
The Honorable Speaker, I'm just concluding. My point is this. Article 114 or subarticle 2 of the Constitution requires that if, in the opinion of the Speaker of the National Assembly, a motion makes a provision for a matter mentioned in the definition of a money bill, the Assembly may proceed only in accordance with the recommendations of the relevant committee of the Assembly, after taking into account the views of the Cabinet Secretary responsible for finance. That is the point. The point here is, has this proposed amendment to the VAT Act 2013 been taken through the relevant committee? Is there a report from the relevant committee? Has it acquired, has it received the concurrence or opinion of the CS Treasury? That is the point. The answer to this question, Honorable Speaker, is that it has not.
Okay.
And therefore, the business is before the House. Even if it is not on the order paper today, it is before the House. The business is before the House and procedurally.
Honorable
is alter.
Okay. Honorable Wandai, that particular statute amendment bill will be coming to the House at some point in time. Right now, you're speculating and anticipating debate. Let us wait until the matter is properly before the House, when all the other members are able to access the documentation from the table office, so that they can also be able to give a counter argument to your argument. But now you're debating yourself. Yes, so let us, you've made your point and you've put it well, so let us proceed. Yes, and raise it.
To proceed on the day the matter will be on the order paper. That doesn't negate the issues I have raised. Very weighty constitutional issues, Honorable Speaker. And whoever is responsible for this bill must take note. Honorable Speaker, thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Wandai. I think they have received the message. So let us wait until the matter is before the House, and there is no point to debate on it because it's not even before the House. Honorable Lowen Bayer, I hope we're not talking about this matter because it's not even before the House. We are just speculating and anticipating debate, and no one else in the room, probably save for the two of you, know about it. So let us wait until it's properly before the House.
Just to be on record, Honorable Speaker, it is proper that we comment on this matter. The Honorable Wandai brought this matter properly before the House, and I want to commend him on one thing, that no one in this Parliament is interested in passing a law that is unconstitutional. It will be foolhardy for us to sit here, pass a law that we know is unconstitutional, and actually let it go, because we swore to protect the Constitution. So, Honorable Speaker, much as there is substance and a lot of substance to what Honorable Wandai is saying, but this House also has procedure. And as you have ruled, Honorable Speaker, we agree with you that the proper procedure must be followed. If this matter is not before the House today, Honorable Wandai has an opportune time when this matter is presented on the day that it will be debated. He will have his day, and we will also have our say on the matter. But at the end of the day, because it is a constitutional issue, it is a matter before the Speaker to make a ruling and guide the House on how we move forward. So we want to thank you, Honorable Wandai, for raising a constitutional matter, but we ask of you to hold your horse until that particular time. Then we can have a robust debate and the Speaker can make a ruling that can guide the House. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. I think that matter is now settled. Next week, we can move to the next order.
Order number 8, procedural motion, reduction of publication period for a specified bill.
Deputy Leader of Majority.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank you, and I beg to move that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 120I, 1C, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2024, from 7 days to 4 days Honorable Speaker, this bill, the Division of Revenue Bill, is a very important bill that unlocks debate and preparations for budgets, both at the National Assembly and at the county assemblies. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, for us to wait for the number of days, it will inconvenience very many institutions, including Treasury and our Committee on Budget Making in their preparation for the budget. And also, we would like county governments to start preparations of their budgets. And this Division of Revenue Bill gives the opportunity for county governments to start preparation of the bill. And therefore, we would like to request this House, Honorable Speaker, that we get approval to reduce the publication period from 7 days to 4 days, so that this week we can do the first reading of the Division of Revenue and then subsequently start a second reading and debate so that we can unlock the monies that go to the counties. Honorable Speaker, you know, Division of Revenue Bill is very important, a very important piece of legislation that dovetails towards the making of the budget. And therefore, we are in that season of budget making, and therefore, we will request this House to approve the reduction of the period from 7 to 4 so that we can start the budget making. I would like to request the Honorable Bowen Kangogo, the Honorable Member who has served now a third term, to second me on this motion. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Madam Speaker, I want to second this bill for the reduction of the division of revenue bill publication from 7 days to 4 days. And Madam Speaker, you will find that many of our counties now, they are struggling even to pay employees because of lack of funds. And Madam Speaker, reducing the publications from 7 to 4 days, Madam Speaker, is going to help us to fast track this bill and make sure that we are done with it before we present it to the Senate, Madam Speaker, so that the resources which are needed by our counties, Madam Speaker, are sent to our various counties. Madam Speaker, the second issue also, Madam Speaker, it is very important that this bill is reduced. We have the 4 days so that we go through all the legislative process and finish it on time, Madam Speaker. I support. I second.
Honorable members, allow me to propose the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 121C, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2024 from 7 days to 4 days. Okay, you can see the mood of the House is that we put the question. Honorable members, I now put the question that pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order number 121C, this House resolves to reduce the publication period of the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2024 from 7 days to 4 days. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Aye. Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Next order.
Order number 9, the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022. Question to be put.
Honorable members, allow me to put the question that the Natural Resources Benefit Sharing Bill, Senate Bill number 6 of 2022, be read a second time. Will as many as of that opinion say aye? Will as many as of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The nays have it.
Order number 10, the Division of Revenue Bill, National Assembly Bill number 14 of 2024, first reading. A bill for an act of parliament to provide for equitable division of revenue raised nationally between the national and county governments in the 2024-2025 financial year and for connected purposes. Order number 11, the Regional Development Authorities Bill, National Assembly Bill number 7 of 2023, second reading.
Honorable members, before we resume debate on order number 11, allow me to recognize the following schools who are seated in the speakers and public galleries. Mutumo Mixed Secondary School, Kitui South Constituency, Kitui County. Nyangati Secondary School, Mwea Constituency, Kirinyaga County. And Ngita Girls Secondary School, Alego Usonga Constituency, Siaya County. I will give you an opportunity. Please hold on. Let me give the first speaker, then come to you. The Honorable Maina Mathenge had how many minutes left? 8 minutes. I'll come to you. Was it you who had? I'll give you. She's not in? Okay. Then I'll give the Honorable Rachel Nyamai then.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for indulging me. I would like to take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker,
to welcome students from various counties, constituencies in our country this afternoon. And most specifically, Honorable Speaker, welcome students from my constituency, Mutomo Mixed Secondary School. As I welcome them, I would like to tell them that this is the place, this is the August House where legislation is done, representation is done, and I would like to encourage you to know that it is possible to find yourselves in this place, to be able to one day represent your country. And as you go home, be assured that the members of parliament we have here have your interest at heart. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker.
Okay, I will give you a few minutes. The honorable member from Malego, Usonga.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, let me welcome students and teachers from Ngea Girls High School from my constituency, Alego Usonga. Madam Speaker, I wish to inform the House that Ngea Girls High School is the oldest girls' school in the entire Nyanza region. Also, Madam Speaker, Ngea Girls High School is the only national school in Alego Usonga constituency. Madam Speaker, this school has had notable alumni from this House. Madam Speaker, the former MP for Game, the late Dr. Grace Ogot, was an alumni of Ngea Girls High School. Madam Speaker, also, ICC Judge Justice Joyce Aluoch is an alumni of Ngea Girls High School. Madam Speaker, the late Oriero Gomanduli is also an alumni of Ngea Girls High School. Madam Speaker, there are so many notable Kenyans who have gone through Ngea Girls High School. Madam Speaker, this school is very special. And Madam Speaker, as I welcome teachers and students into this House, I want to say, Madam Speaker, that I am proud of this school because this school continuously excels in national examinations. Madam Speaker, I know that seated in the gallery are girls who are going to join this House in future. I want to tell them that this House belongs to them, and in future they should not limit their ambitions, and they should work hard to ensure that they become members of Parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Hello? Just hold on, please. Hold on.
I'm an alumni of that school.
Okay, we are on order number 11. I'd like to call upon the Vice Chairperson of the Regional Development Committee, Honorable Wamaua M. Maragwa.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me a chance to support the bill from the Committee of Regional Development. Madam Speaker, this bill seeks to consolidate the laws relating to regional development and to provide the establishment, functions, and powers of the 6 regional development that are mostly found in the ASO areas. Madam Speaker, this bill also which has the authorities are established by separate acts of parliament, and therefore the bill seeks to merge the establishment and the operation of the 6 authorities so that they can be under a single act of parliament. And also, Madam Speaker, it seeks to standardize the functions of the authority subject to the unique areas of operation of each of the regional development, because wherever they are not in the same areas within the same environment, and therefore this bill is seeking to make sure that the standardization is there. Madam Speaker, when it came, the committee has narrowed it down to some areas like the membership following the proposed following the Mwongozo, the provisions of the Mwongozo Code of Governance for the State Corporation. so that the size of the board shall be limited to 9 members, excluding the ex officio member, contrary now to what the bill has, though this is an amendment that the committee will bring during the committee of the whole House. Madam Speaker, when we support, and I'm hoping this House will support this bill, as per the Article 189, Sub-Article 2, it outlines the importance of cooperation among different levels of government to carry out their duties effectively. Because, Madam Speaker, most of whatever is done by the regional development authorities happens to be under the functions of the county government. And therefore, Madam Speaker, we need a lot of cooperation so that these two levels of government will not be seen to be fighting, but in any way to improve and to fill the gap of the socio-economic status of our people. Therefore, this collaboration is crucial to make sure that we achieve better development outcomes for the people of this country. And therefore, by combining their strengths and resources, the RDAs and the county government can be able to join forces and be able to tackle some inequalities. Also, they can join to boost the economic progress and also improve the overall quality of life for everyone in the areas where we find the regional authorities are. We know there are some areas that we do not have the regional development authorities, but the purpose of why the Act came and formed this regional development authority is to make sure in most of our regions where we have the ASO areas, we are adding another strength to assist the county government to be able to fill up the gaps. And therefore, Madam Speaker, the RDAs will remain vital entities in our country's development landscape. And thanks to their diverse functions and proven capacity to foster the socio-economic growth while effectively managing our resources. They also play a very vital role in driving sustainable growth and resource management nationwide. Madam Speaker, this bill had come during the 12th Parliament, but we were not able to conclude on it due to Parliament coming at a sin and die. And therefore, as a committee of the regional development, we found, because it is very important to combine and to harmonize and to standardize and to have one act of Parliament, it was good so that we bring it. Due to time, I may not be able to bring all what is contained in the Regional Development Authority Bill, but I want to single out that the Regional Development Authorities are credited to have conceptualized and implemented some of the very mega projects that we have, like Masiga and Kiabere multipurpose dams on River Tana. We also have Takwel multipurpose dam on River Takwel. We also have Sodu River multipurpose project on River Sodu, under which Sodu Mereu hydropower was implemented. We also have, Madam Speaker, Mwache Dam multipurpose development project, which is still ongoing under implementation. And I want to say, Madam Speaker, a lot has been done by the RDAs. It has created employment, and it has also made sure that it has made some of our women groups, youth groups very busy, doing projects that are income generating, and therefore out of marketing, whatever they are getting out of that after being supported, Madam Speaker, we are finding that our people are still putting something into their pocket. Therefore, I would request the members of this House to fully support this regional development bill so that we can be anchored on one act of Parliament instead of having the so many acts making each of the 6 regional development, and so that we may also be able to enhance collaboration and cooperation of the national government and the county government, because all the 2 levels of government mean well to improve the socio-economic status of our people. Madam Speaker, thank you.
Honorable members, before I give the next speaker, I just decided to rise so that I can make this clear. I think the speaker a few weeks ago ruled that people will only be, honorable members will be given the opportunity to speak if they have their cards. And if you don't have your card, the clerk's office says it's available upstairs, so you can get it. It will make it easier for us to work. And also, if you have a school from your constituency that's here, if you write it on a piece of paper and just leave it at the table here so that you're not distracting me, it will make it so much easier. And everybody can be able to have an opportunity. So with that, I think before we go to the next speaker, I think I'll give just 2 minutes to the Honorable Member for Rangwe, Honorable Lillian Gogo, because I know that you're a former student of Nia Girls.
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I appreciate you, and that's the beauty and the power of a woman. And I want to appreciate the great Nia Girls who are at the public gallery. I'm an alumni of Nia Girls High School, the only national school in Alego Usonga constituency where I was born and bred. And I want to celebrate Nia Girls for making me who I am before I moved to Kisumu Girls National School. I want to appreciate you, and I want to tell you that I once sat in the seat where you are sitting. I once slept in the dormitories where you are sleeping now. I wore that very uniform and the tie that you have worn today. And I can tell you that sky is the limit. The best is yet to come from you. It is your time and your turn to do your best at Nia Girls National School. And the country is looking up to you. Where Dr. Lillian Achieng Gogo is, I may not be in this particular seat forever, but I want to tell one of the Nia girls who is seated at the gallery that in due time, when my time is done, I want to see one of the Nia girls come and occupy this very seat where I am seated. I want to thank Nia girls for making me who I am today. And I want to appreciate all the girls in this nation. Together with the boys, the men in the house are complaining. And I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker, because CNN is complaining. And I want to thank you, Honorable Speaker, because the girls, Nia girls, are not able to see you from where you are. But I know that that seat occupied by the Speaker, who is a woman, is one time going to be occupied by one of the girls from the Nia Girls High School. So I thank you so much, Honorable Speaker, and I appreciate my alma mater. And I want to tell you, Nia girls, I'm waiting to see how you are going to perform this year, and I'm going to come over for the party. I thank you and I appreciate you, Honorable Speaker.
Oh, sorry. The Honorable Member for Ganze, Honorable Tungule, MP. Was I heard?
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I want to say from the onset that I support this bill on regional development, and I'm also a member of the Regional Development Committee that came up with this bill. Madam Speaker, regional development authorities have been here with us since independence. Mr. Speaker, these have been the engines of development, especially in our rural areas. But Madam Speaker, these authorities that we have had have been operating on different laws. So their functions have not been coordinated. Their functions have been haphazard. And as a result, the outcomes of the operations could not be properly accounted for. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, we know that these authorities have the capacity to develop our rural areas if they are given the necessary legal framework. But it has been difficult, Mr. Speaker, because they have been operating under different acts of parliament. This bill seeks, therefore, to collapse all these different acts of parliament and bring these regional development authorities to operate under one act of parliament. Mr. Speaker, one of the benefits that are going to accrue when these regional authorities are put under one law is that their functions are going to be coordinated and it will be easy even to oversight them. So I want to say that I support this bill because it is going to be of a lot of benefit to this country. Mr. Speaker, one of the things that this bill seeks to rectify is the fact that the boards, these regional development authorities have been operating on very bloated boards. And most of the boards members that are appointed do not come from the areas that these boards operate from. We have 6 RDAs in this country, all of them operating under different acts of parliament. But when it came to the operations or the appointments of the boards, you will see CDA or co-development authorities, for example, it has board members from maybe another area of this country. One of the things that this bill is going to correct is the fact that, first of all, the number of board members is going to be reduced from the current 12 to 9 to make it to conform with the Mwongozo guidelines. And again, apart from the ex-officio members, these board members are going to come from the areas where these boards are operating from. And I'm sure this is going to be beneficial to this board because many of the board members will be coming from the areas that the board are operating, so they'll be conversant with the issues that are affecting people in that area. Mr. Speaker, regional development authorities have been operating before even devolution came. And some of the functions of these authorities have been taken up by the counties. But there's still a big role that these authorities can play in this country. Even some of the functions that are devolved and are now under the purview of the counties, there's still a lot that needs to be done. We know functions like water are now under the counties. But again, there are some projects that counties cannot do alone because they are cross-cutting. There are some projects that we need to bring like 2-3 counties together so that these projects can be effectively done. This is where RDAs can come in very effectively. We have seen attempts by counties to form regional bodies so that they can pull resources together. These are functions that can be done effectively by RDAs. So I know there has been complaints or there have been attempts by the Council of Governors to disband the RDAs. But I want to say that the roles that RDAs are playing are complementing and supplementing what the counties are doing. Because we know that already the counties have so much in their hands. They are not effectively implementing what they are supposed to do. Bringing an extra hand to help them also do their functions is not bad at all. So I want to say that much as we appreciate what the counties are doing, but there are some roles that these RDAs can play that are going to be even beneficial to the counties themselves. We have seen the attempt to form economic blocks. This means that if you pull resources together for different counties, we can be more effective in our undertakings. So it is high time also the Council of Governors supports what the RDS are doing on the ground, because I'm very sure that it is complementing their roles. Mr. Speaker, that is my submission, and I want to say that I support this bill by the regional development authorities. Thank you.
The Honorable Christine Ombaka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. I just want to welcome Nia girls in this August House, because this is the first time that they've been here. I want to tell the girls that this is where we work. Here is where we represent you. This is where we make laws that protect you as a girl. And the laws that we have made in this house is meant to protect you and to encourage you to improve your lives. We have talked about education for the girl child. We have talked about empowerment of the girl child. This is where we debate about it. Nia Girls is a school that has brought out many strong women in this country. In a European tongue, or in the European sense, it is an Ivy League kind of school, the best of the best. Therefore, girls, aim high, work hard, and then join us one day when opportunity comes. Otherwise, I expect you to excel in life, complete your education, and the sky will be the limit. Thank you, and God bless you.
The Honorable Christine, ordinarily I thought you'd be speaking on the motion, but you have had your way. Nevertheless, let's have the Honorable Phyllis Bartow, but speak on the motion. Do we have Phyllis Bartow in the House? If you are not speaking on this, I can move to the next member.
Mr. Speaker, I am not speaking on this particular one.
Thank you. Let's have the Honorable Ekomas Mutuse. Are you in the House? Now, there's a general atmosphere that people keyed in to speak on matters that may have lapsed already. So could we refresh the whole screen and then we key in so that we are able to know who wants to speak on this? Meanwhile, Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I raise the understanding order number 95 to request that the mover may be called to reply.
Order, Honorable Mutuse. Number one, Honorable Mutuse, you are completely out of order because one, you are not even sure what you wanted to speak on. Then secondly, you want to call on standing order number 95. That's wrong. Let's have the leader speak on this. Give him the mic.
Honorable Speaker. All right. Honorable Speaker, this bill, the Regional Development Authorities Bill, is very important. It's a very important bill. And I would like to urge many members to contribute because it affects us. One, Honorable Speaker, we must align these regional development authorities to the Constitution because some of the mandates that they have taken belong to the county government. Now, because they belong to the county government, it becomes counterproductive because it's a constitution. Actually, it is a constitutional issue because regional development authorities want to do water, they want to do education, they want to do roads, they want to do health, and yet regional development authorities are entities under the national government. County governments should be given space to do their work within their mandates, within Schedule 4. To continue to have regional development authorities in this government that have functions that cut across is contravention of the Constitution. And therefore, they must be aligned. They either need to choose to be animals or to be birds. We need to align the regional development authority. Today, we have around 9 regional developments. And these regional developments, Honorable Speaker, are doing work that is cross-cutting. So the first point, Honorable Speaker, we must abide by the Constitution. In Schedule 14, Schedule 4 of the Constitution, where should they lie? Should they lie within the national government or the county governments? Honorable Speaker, there has been the argument by governors, for which I support to some extent, because Governors have been setting regional blocks which require money so that they can do the functions of the county government. But we have been denying regional blocks resources because we are taking the money to regional development authorities. And yet they do not have mandate to do the work of the county government. Honorable Speaker, I would change this law, and I think I'll have my say in third reading, that we change that instead of having these regional development authorities which consume money, they pay a lot of staff, they do nothing. Honorable Speaker, we change it to give it to the counties. They hold what is called the regional blocks, as we fund regional blocks, and they do work for county government, and we see productivity, Honorable Speaker. Some of these regional development blocks, authorities, Honorable Speaker, receive a lot of money from donors. In the case of Coast Development Authority, it has received millions of shillings from the Italian government. But what was it that we see? We see them sitting, they divide the tenders among their colleagues, they divide them among their families, and at the end of the day, the coast people have never benefited from the Coast Development Authority because there is no structure to govern them. Even the minister at the top, the regional development minister, has no say completely under this regional development because they are like parastatals, and yet they are not parastatals. But they consume a lot of money from national government and give no results. So, Honorable Speaker, I would like to see either we strengthen them to take care of counties or we strengthen them to take care of national government. But it will give us an opportunity to send even more money and development to counties if we allow these regional development authorities to be what is now the economic blocks that we have. We have Jumuiya County Zapwani in the coast. We have the Lake Basin, the Lake Regional, the Lake, not Lake Basin authorities, the authority, the block which brings the counties at the Lake region, where you have Nyamira, you have Homa Bay, you have Kericho, you have all those. You know, that block, we give it money. But Lake Basin Development Authority is doing work which the governors should be doing. You know, so there's a conflict in law, Honorable Speaker. And I just hope my friend, the chairperson who is here, takes cognizance of this fact so that we reform regional development. But they must choose where they must belong. They cannot be a cow and be a goat at the same time. They have to choose who they want to be so that we get benefit for the money that we put. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, we need to align also them to the Mwongozo. You know, I think they have many board members. How do you bring a board member to Coast Development Authority and give a membership to someone who has never been to the coast, who understands nothing about the coast region, but he's a member of Coast Development Authority? He's a board member, but he doesn't know anything about coast. How does he sit down to decide development issues for a region he understands nothing about? How do you bring a person from the coast to the Lake Basin Regional Authority to discuss issues of the lake
what's your point of order,
he
Honorable
understands
Member?
Nothing about, Honorable
There's
Speaker.
a point of order there.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On this bill on the RDAs, one of the things that this bill is going to sort is people who are coming from those regions are the ones who are supposed to be board members of those RDAs. And this is one of those things that, kindly, Mr. Speaker, I want the Honorable Member for Kilifi to relax. This bill is trying to sort out this issue of members who are coming from other regions, going to RDAs that don't come from their regions, so that we have members who come from those regions and understand those regions to be board members of those RDAs. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, thank you very much, Honorable, for the information. But I actually support that position that members of the RDA board, for the particular RDA board, must come from the region. They must come from the region. You cannot bring people from other regions to come and sit in council for a board in a region where those people don't understand anything. So, Honorable Speaker, I concur with Honorable Papa Jafo on this matter. that we must have members of the board from those regions.
What's
Honorable
your
Speaker,
point of order, Honorable
as I
Ruko?
conclude,
Leader, just take your seat. There's a very serious interest in your speak here. Ruko, what is out of order?
Honorable Speaker, I tend to differ seriously.
that is debate, not a point of order.
It's point of order. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. It is not right.
Order.
That is debate.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Take
It
your
is
seat,
not
please.
right.
On
It
which
is
point
not
of order
right.
are you rising on?
I want to raise a point of order.
Which point of order have you risen?
That it is not right, Mr. Speaker.
That is debate.
It's not right, Mr. Speaker. We stand here to segment this nation when we have professionals in the Republic of Kenya with knowledge of each and every corner of the Republic of Kenya. Not only knowledge about each and every corner of the Republic of Kenya, but also the region of East and Central Africa. We have Kenyans who have gone to school very well, who can be able to serve in each and every board, regardless whether it is Coast Board or Rift Valley Development Authority or East and or Tana River. Mr. Speaker, we will be driving this country in the wrong direction, where we want to segment our nation in tribal cocoons. And it is very shameful, Mr. Speaker, for Honorable Linda, Deputy Leader of Majority, to champion that kind of thing.
Order. You have made your point.
I submit.
Honorable Speaker, I want to say this. The best expert...
Order, members.
Honorable
Relax.
Speaker.
Order, honorable
Honorable Speaker.
Order.
Honorable Speaker.
Order, members.
I'm on the floor.
Order. Ruku has made his point, and so clearly. You may proceed.
I want to say this. The best professional, the best expert on matters coast is a guy from the coast region. There can never be any other expert, Honorable Speaker, better than the person who comes from the coast region. Mr. Speaker, I'll speak boldly, and I'll say this. This has been used for many years. It has been used for many years to marginalize communities in their own region, where people bring board members from other places to come and be members of boards in certain regions and use it to oppress and take away resources. Honorable Speaker, I'll stand by that. The best experts in coast are in the coast. They will take over all the boards in the coast because that's what it must be. Honorable Speaker, that I will stand for. So we must reform these regional bodies to ensure that people from a certain region run their boards. Just like counties, people from the same counties run their counties. That we will stand by. You can have your opinion, CNN, because you want to come to the coast and colonize the people from the coast. We will not allow you that space at all. People from the coast will manage their resources. If you don't have an RDA, go and create yours. But
I think we have heard you, and you may take your seat. Honorable members, you don't have to shout. You just come in procedurally, and you'll have your speak on this. Could we have Honorable Tendamolo? Do you want to speak on this? Proceed. And that's the orderly way in which you want to run the House, not shouting. Proceed, Honorable Tendamolo.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to express support generally for the bill. The idea of a regional development authority coming in one bill is generally a good idea. In fact, Mr. Speaker, the case has been made to consolidate many more bodies, some of which do things that are the same and they replicate each other. I think we need to rationalize the number of public bodies we have generally in this country. While doing it, Mr. Speaker, consolidation is a good thing, but one of the things we must look at is not to make these places preserves of political failures. Those who have failed in politics, then they are taken there not to help development, but as a brooding ground, as an holding ground, waiting for the next election cycle. So some of them, instead of focusing on regional development, they politic day in, day out. That is something we need to check on as we are reconstituting these boards. I support the idea of reducing the number of board members. Indeed, it doesn't even have to be the 9. It can even be reduced further, because experience has shown that the leaner the board, the less the opportunity for corruption, and the more the efficient the board is. So that is something to consider. Mr. Speaker, as we are doing that, I hope that they will be able to resolve some outstanding issues. For example, and the consultation here is rather loud. Mr. Speaker,
Order, honorable members
the consultation here is rather loud, though valid.
Please take your seats, honorable member.
Thank you.
For consult
Mr.
and law
Speaker,
voices.
there are some of these regional bodies, regional development bodies that have been unable to resolve certain issues. And a case in point is the Lake Basin Development Authority with what's called the Lake Basin Development Mall, that has now taken almost 20 years. Almost 20 years, and we are unable to resolve it because successive boards and managers are not interested in resolving it. They are only interested in seeing what other opportunities they can get. I really hope that as we are going this way, we'll be able to resolve these outstanding matters. Mr. Speaker, 2 more things. There's one thing Honorable Baya has said which I am in agreement with, although he was confusing me, because he starts by saying he supports the bill. Then he says at the 3rd reading, he's going to persuade the House to drop the idea of supporting the bill so that all these tasks can go to the counties. So he's probating and reprobating. The Honorable Owen Baya must decide where he stands, especially as the Deputy Leader of Majority. You must consult and know which bill you are supporting, which one you're opposing, because you confuse us. We don't even know whether you're speaking as the Deputy Majority Leader or the member for Kilifi. And sometimes now we wonder what to do with you. But having said that, the idea of rationalizing the tasks and functions of these regional bodies vis-a-vis the functions of counties is a legitimate one. And that is something that must be focused on. However, the Honorable Owen Baya has always spoken to this thing of coast being run by coastarians. All these resources that these regional bodies are dealing with, they're not regional resources, they're national resources. Even if it's Lake Victoria, it's not a resource for Nyanza, it's a resource for Kenya. Even if it's the coast, it's a resource for Kenya. So let us not tribalize and, regionalize even things that can be national. What we must bear in mind is that these regional bodies are being funded by the taxpayer from the entire country. These regional bodies are supposed to do functions consistent with the Constitution, and the Constitution requires diversity and balancing. We must ensure there is diversity and balancing and merit, so that ultimately, if a man from Tarakaniti, like the Honorable Murugara, can be the best leader in Coast Development Authority, why not? If it is possible. If you, Owen Baya, turns out to be the best MD that Lake Victoria can ever have, why not? Provided you do what it fits. We cannot be amending the laws to make our situation and ethnicization worse when we should be endeavoring to be one nation state. Mr. Speaker, I support the bill. I denounce this Owen Baya regionalization agenda, and I suggest that we pass the bill as it is. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable members in the Speaker's Gallery. Order, Honorable Baya. Honorable members in the Speaker's Gallery is St. Francis Girls Mangu, Gatundu North Constituency, Kiambu. Do we have any member of Kiambu region to just welcome the girls? Let me give to Senior Counsel that opportunity to welcome the girls in the House.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Allow me kindly to welcome the St. Francis Mangu girls to the National Assembly. It's a school I remember very well. When I did my O-levels at Mangu High School, we used to visit St. Francis girls at Mangu. Therefore, I remember their school with nostalgia because it was part of the development as we grew up. St. Francis girls, this is the house of the National Assembly. I know you're studying very hard as usual, and sooner or later, you will actually be coming here to represent the various constituencies where you come from. So do your exams well, study well, and you are going to be great ladies in this country. Welcome to the National Assembly.
Very well. The Honorable Letapila, MP Samburu, proceed.
Sisi tuliambiwa tutafute shamba hapa Trans Nzoia ya kuja kujenga affordable housing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the bill on regional authorities. I am a member of the committee, and I would like to say from the onset that, in my opinion, the regional authorities have been an answer of sorts, especially to marginalized constituencies and parts of this country, which were victims of the Sessional Paper number 10, which legitimately marginalized part of this country, and which deemed part of this country to be less productive and therefore undeserving of state support in terms of development. RDS have also been able to provide strategic interventions in terms of mega projects of national value, like mega dams, that have greatly helped this country in terms of food security through irrigation, among other measures. Regional authorities have been a great complement to devolution, especially from the national level, and should be viewed as such. This bill seeks to consolidate all RDS under one legislation, because individual RDS have been having their bills, their acts. And every RDA, in essence, has been having an even board membership. And this bill is seeking to drop them from 12 to 9 members. This bill also seeks to align the RDS with the 2010 Constitution. And I support the sentiment from Honorable Otiende Amolo on the constitution of the membership of these boards. I believe that the Constitution of Kenya gives every Kenyan an equal opportunity to serve in this country, and that meritocracy should be the order of choosing the membership of these regional authorities. I also support the idea that the membership of this committee, of these authorities, should include locals, because these authorities serve specific areas, and locals have better knowledge of prevailing situations and conditions in those areas. Regional authorities which serve areas, let's say, of like northern Kenya, if you get members from specific places where those authorities serve, are better people to understand the problems affecting those communities, and therefore better place to serve and to offer even services and better advice, which will add value to those authorities, especially in those areas. I thank the committee of the regional authorities for taking views during its public participation, and those who are part of the, those who are the things which are coming out strongly during those public participations. We were getting strong sentiments that these authorities are purviews of political appointees who don't really add value. Communities were saying that we need local representation in these committees for better service delivery. Those are views which were taken by this bill, and that is where you get those sentiments from members of the committee that the membership should include locals.
Tuweke mkono karibu.
We were also getting sentiments from communities that the membership is bloated, and that's where those reduction of the board membership came out. We believe, or rather I believe, that the RDS should be retained at the national level to complement the development at other levels of government. The notion that this RDS should go to devolved units were sentiments which were getting strong opposition during public participation. The people who are giving the feedback strongly supported the RDS to remain at the national level. Many of them were viewing the RDS the same way they are viewing CDF developments at the constituency level. They're saying they are seeing more impact, they're getting more value for their money from this RDS. And I support the notion that the RDS should remain at the national level and shouldn't go to the devolved units. Unlike what the leader of majority was saying, and I support Honorable Otiende Omolo there, the leader of majority confused all of us because we didn't know whether he was supporting the bill or opposing the bill, because if he had gone through the bill properly, he would have read and understood what I am saying as a member of this committee. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's my submission.
And the leader, you should take your place. You know, every member is having a comment on your earlier statement. Next to speak on this is veteran MP Adan Kenan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, on the face of it, this is a very good bill. It ought to have come a long time ago, pursuant to the enactment of the current constitution. And I want to congratulate the chairman, the Honorable Champong, and his team for a well-intended bill. But, Mr. Speaker, having said this, if I look at the first object, memorandum of object and reason for the bill, for the establishment and powers and function of the bill in order to streamline these many regional bodies actually is a timely one. Mr. Speaker, I hope Honorable Bayer, the Deputy Leader of Majority, will hear our sentiments. Mr. Speaker, this bill is a precursor. This bill is a precursor to the promulgation of the current constitution. And the Honorable Bayer is still very busy consulting. Mr. Speaker, the operations, activities, the mandates of these regional bodies has been overlapping. The original idea of having these regional bodies was superb, it was good. Mzoimo and cohorts had a good idea of devolving funds through these regional bodies. But Mr. Speaker, over time, because of the changing dynamics of the Republic of Kenya, and the changing dynamics, Mr. Speaker, of our own constitutional framework, some of these regional bodies have been declared nugatory in terms of their functions, in terms of the original mandate, and therefore streamline them, putting them in perspective in order to complement the role of the national government, Mr. Speaker, is superb. What is not good is what is being suggested by the Honorable Bayer, and I'm sure he's a leader who is trying to create a niche for himself in the coast region, but that does not negate the national spirit of national cohesion, unity of purpose, and generally, this country, Mr. Speaker, over the years, one of the things that has really reduced every aspect of our development agenda is regionalism, tribalism, cronyism, and corruption. Mr. Speaker, as much as I agree the people of coast require that dynamic approach, but we must also appreciate coast region is part and parcel of the Republic of Kenya. Kenya is a unitary state, and therefore that approach to our development agenda only negates the national spirit.
Is that honorable member for go back and do the correct thing? This is a house of rules and order. Proceed.
That approach which was being suggested by the Honorable Bayer only negates the national spirit. It is not in tandem. with both the letter and the spirit of the current constitution. It doesn't appreciate the diversity of the Republic of Kenya. It doesn't appreciate the premier nature of the Republic of Kenya, and therefore, I thought you, as a very wise man, will have ruled the Honorable Baya out of order to the extent that his creative imaginations actually still linger on with those old ideas of regionalism, Majimboism, and other negative ideas that actually we have shed off under the current generous constitution, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, having said this, it's also time that we need to dissect the mandates, the activities, in line, first of all, with the current constitution, in line with the relevant statutory establishment, and also in line with the Mongozo rules, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, this, once properly contextualized, taken into account the objects and the reasons of this particular bill, this will only create an effective, efficient, transparently run regional authority, Mr. Speaker. And that is what we endeavor to have. And that is what we are looking forward to. And that's, I'm sure, both the intent and the motivation, what has motivated actually the chairman of this critical committee. Mr. Speaker, having said this, we also need to think out of the box. This premier country, whose leadership the Almighty God has bestowed on this critical group, Mr. Speaker, requires two things. We need to think out of the box. Over the years, everything that we have done has been laden with tribalism. It has failed to work. Look at where we are. And Mr. Speaker, I want to get your attention on this. A few years ago, and I know most of us were born after independence, once we got our independence, the Kenya that even the colonials had in mind and the Kenya that we have today are completely different. And that's why even the president and the government are struggling to put us back into where we are supposed to be. Look at this, Mr. Speaker. We used to have KMC. And I will always say this. In 1968, and I'm sure many of you were born after 1968, the GDP of the Republic of Kenya was the same as the one of South Korea. What has killed today? The GDP of South Korea, 50 times that of Kenya. Botswana borrowed from Kenya in 1968, including even the setting up of Kenya Meat Commission. Where are we today, Mr. Speaker? Today, Botswana provides meat to the entire world. Kenya Meat Commission is under receivership. What has taken us there? Tribalism, regionalism, corruption, nepotism, and everything else that we can attribute to this negative thinking that the Honorable Baya was trying to introduce. I thought the Honorable Baya, being a very progressive deputy majority leader, should tell us how we can get out of these perennial challenges in the name of tribalism, in the name of regionalism, so that Kenya joins the League of Developing Nations. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this. This bill, when I look at it, dealing with the formations of these regional boards is an administrative issue. And Mr. Speaker, I want to ask my colleagues here. Today you are a member of parliament. Tomorrow you will be an honorary citizen. And therefore, as we do this, we should legislate for posterity, not having a particular issue, a particular season in mind. And that is why the collective thought of this particular group, I can see our SG of the Northern Kenya Parliamentary Group is a member of I'm told you are a member of this committee. And this is good. And these are the things that we need to address. We need to have the entity that deals with Northern Kenya, Wasenyuro, function efficiently, effectively, so that they have one of the best MDs. Because of structural challenges, that organization cannot work, Mr. Speaker. And this is some of the things that the bill attempts to cure. And I want to commend the committee. In conclusion, Mr. Speaker, there comes a time, as the late Professor George Saitoti says, I said, that the country is more important than individual thinking. We need to collectively put our thoughts together so that this Kenya that we have here, through our own little contributions, Mr. Speaker, joins the League of Developed Nations. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Joseph McClark.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to use the words of Senior Counsel Otiende Omolo that I generally support this bill. And to be able to fast track all of us, Mr. Speaker, is that, look, this is actually, this country has moved, Mr. Speaker, you can protect me from these people from one county. Mr. Speaker, protect us from these people, members of parliament, who are coming from one county. They are obstructing us, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, where have we come from? Mr. Speaker, there are people conversing in a language that is not parliamentary, and all of them come from the same
Honorable
county.
Meli, Chairman Education. Order. Your discussion
They
is
all
too
come
loud.
from the same county. All of them
Okay, proceed.
and in the mother tongue. Mr. Speaker, I want to bring us to speed that why are we doing this and why it is necessary to do this amendment, this bill, Mr. Speaker. It's because in 1980s, this country tried to address specific inequalities that were affecting Kenyans in every region through what is called rural focus for rural development strategy. After that, Mr. Speaker, we moved to regional authorities, Mr. Speaker, in the 90s, establishment of regional authorities to be able to address the challenges that are facing Kenyans in specific regions of Kenya so that they are brought up for development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, what then followed after all those ones, the focus for rural development in 1980s and the regional development authorities of 90s, now we entered into the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Those are the steps where we have come from. The Constitution of Kenya 2010 actually subdivided this country into 47 county governments that we have today. Again, why? That Kenya is a country with diverse people. And to be able to actually bring up Kenya in a manner that no government shall discriminate, then the establishments of the county governments so that they have equitable share of resources, Mr. Speaker. Then, what now missed is this bill. Because, Mr. Speaker, after now we've sorted out Kenya into 47 governments so that we can actually address, every regional government shall be able to address the things that are specific to them, then we did not touch the regional authorities because now there are functions that are county government, there are functions that are national government which are run by the regional authorities. Therefore, it is necessary, the bill sponsored by Honorable Peter Lochangabong is therefore necessary to realign the regional authorities with the new Kenya, the new order in Kenya, the establishments of county governments and the national government. So, Speaker, and that is why there is a fourth schedule, that there are things that are specific to be done by the county governments, and there are things that are specific for national government. This bill, therefore, tries to reorganize the regional authorities in a manner that shall conform to the Constitution of Kenya 2010. Mr. Speaker, why it is necessary to do these reforms, Mr. Speaker, some of these authorities have become obsolete in terms of performance because they are run by regional kingpins who have lost elections, Mr. Speaker, and breeding corruption in those particular institutions, Mr. Speaker. This is why this bill is necessary, because under this bill it will be able to sort very specific things that can be done by the county governments using the regional authority, and those things that can be done by us at the national government. And therefore, resources will follow functions, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have one, for example, the Kerio Valley Development Authority. Mr. Speaker, the bigger vision of the Kerio Valley, for example, I'm just using an example where I belong, Mr. Speaker, was actually to bring up development in the Kerio Valley region to the level that are enjoyed by others. We lost the vision because there were so many other things that came up, Mr. Speaker, and we allowed the regional authorities to be run by our kinsmen in terms of management, board. And Mr. Speaker, I think going forward in Kenya, to avoid what the Deputy Leader of Majority was saying, appointment of board members must meet some specific academic qualifications so that we don't just appoint every Tom, Dick, and Harry to those particular institutions, Mr. Speaker. There are some professional things and technical knowledge that are required to run those institutions, Mr. Speaker. And I want to propose that as we even go through this bill, Mr. Speaker, Chairman, there is need now to synchronize and say the boards of a regional authority shall not have more than
a third of the people in that particular region. Let's make Kenyans who are qualified, who have experience, who have technical knowledge, so that they don't converse in their mother tongue like my colleagues who are speaking here and share tenders and everything, and they bring down the authorities, Mr. Speaker. We need authorities that are able to change lives and bring development in the regions of Kenya in a manner that is enshrined in our constitution, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, even the membership of the board, some boards, Mr. Speaker, are having 16 members, others are having 9. There is need to put this House of Regional Authorities in order, not more than 7, for example, Mr. Speaker, so that you have a lean, manageable board. And even their secretariat must be people who are knowledgeable and qualified, and not specific from those particular regions, because if you want to finish an authority very fast, put people from the same region, all of them. They will crumble and it will finish, and we shall have wasted taxpayers' money, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the regional authorities, the 6 we are talking about here, Mr. Speaker, receives exchequer from all Kenyans regardless of how they voted. It is revenue. It is what we do here. It is the division of revenue that we give to the county governments and the taxes that Kenyans are paying, Mr. Speaker. Therefore, we must nationalize our institutions so that they are able to be brought up in a manner that will be able to change Kenya. If we are interested in changing Kenya, Mr. Speaker, is whenever an institution is established, Mr. Speaker, let us accept that we must have the right persons in terms of qualifications, in terms of management and experience, so that we are able to bring up development to the rest of the country, Mr. Speaker. I'll give you an example, Mr. Speaker. Again, the Takwel hydropower, Mr. Speaker, was supposed to generate power, and the water that is remaining is supposed to be used for irrigation in the entire side of Turkana and West Pokot, Mr. Speaker. That is what will change Kenya. We need this country to become food secure. Keria alone, Mr. Speaker, has the capacity to produce food and sugarcane without using fertilizer that shall build this country, Mr. Speaker. So these regional authorities, I accept, Mr. Speaker, must be reformed. They must be reformed in accordance to this bill, and we shall even add some more amendments so that it actually sets up the entire country in a manner that brings everybody on board, Mr. Speaker, including the county governments. Mr. Speaker, even the county governments need a role. The county assemblies of Kenya need a role. So that now, Mr. Speaker, we mark these particular regional authorities with what the county governors have always struggled to establish, what is called economic blocks. Mr. Speaker, there is now need to realign economic blocks together with particularly this bill so that we have entities that are economical, that are viable, that are able to generate revenues for our country, and even the auditing of these authorities, Mr. Speaker. Today we are dealing with a finance matter, and we realize there is some suckers in government, Mr. Speaker, who are actually receiving a lot of revenue, but they are not on the purview of the control of budget, Mr. Speaker. And that is a recipe for corruption. That is revenue for cheap money, where people squander resources from Kenyans who have actually sweat to earn a living, Mr. Speaker. So, this particular bill, Mr. Speaker, is the game changer in development of those areas that have always been prone to drought, those are prone to floods, those are prone to banditry, those areas that are also growing, those who are doing fishing, those who are doing sugarcane. We can be able to bring up the rest of the country to the level that we can say Kenya is a prosperous nation, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I support this bill with the necessary amendments, and we say let us have a unified country and let us reduce the number of suckers that are non-profitable, that are consuming taxpayers' money, so that we reduce and become economical, and we'll be able to change our country, Mr. Speaker. With that, I rise to support, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Zamzam Chimba.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuunga mkono mswada ulioletwa leo bungeni kuhusu maendeleo ya idara ya mikoa. Mheshimiwa Spika, mengi yamezungumzwa, lakini mimi nataka kusema hivi. Licha ya kuwa tunataka maendeleo yaweze kuonekana katika mikoa yetu na katika idara ya mikoa, Mheshimiwa Spika, pia niweze kuelezea kuwa na nasikia wenzangu hapa wakizungumza mambo ya ukabila, mambo sijui ya nini. Serikali hii ilileta ugatuzi katika katiba yetu ili watu waweze kufaidi kutokana na rasilimali zao. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, hapa katika bunge hili tunashuhudia unafiki mkubwa sana, kwa sababu Mheshimiwa Spika, watu wengi ambao wako katika jamii ambazo ni ndogo ndogo, Mheshimiwa Spika, hawajaweza kufaidika kisawasawa kutokana na rasilimali zao, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndio maana mimi naweza kusema kuwa, Mheshimiwa Spika, licha ya kuwa tunataka kuweka watu ambao wamestawi, watu ambao wameimarika kuchukua idara kama hizi ili kuweza kusawazisha rasilimali na uchumi katika mikoa yetu, Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini tukiangalia hata juzi baada ya kura, Mheshimiwa Spika, watu wamepewa idara nyingi sana, wale ambao walianguka kura, Mheshimiwa Spika, na imekuwa idara hizi sasa hazina maana. Manake kila siku ni siasa zinapigwa katika maidara hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Hata ukienda kutafuta usaidizi unaambiwa wewe ulikuwa chama fulani, hapa kuna chama fulani, hapa kuna hivi. Mheshimiwa Spika, wale walioanguka kura wajifunze kuja kurudi kutafuta wakati mwingine, Mheshimiwa Spika, sio kuwa walimbikizwe kwa wananchi katika maidara ambapo unapata hata hujui kazi yao wanafanya nini, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na licha ya kuwa tunataka wale ambao wamebobea katika kufanya shughuli katika idara hizi, Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini pia tuheshimu gatuzi. Tukipewa pia watu ambao wanatoka sehemu zile, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanaelewa vizuri jiografia ya sehemu ile, wanaelewa vizuri cultures na tradition ya sehemu zile, wanaelewa vizuri matatizo ya wananchi wa pale, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na kwa hiyo tukipata watu ambao wametoka sehemu zile lakini ni wale ambao wamebobea, yani professionals, itatusaidia sana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, nimesikia mbunge mmoja akisema tuache mambo ya ukabila na nini, na mimi nataka niseme hivi, Mheshimiwa Spika, tumeshuhudia ukabila mwingi sana wakati wa kura, wakati wa kutafuta kura, na hii imeshuhudiwa katika nyanja zote, Mheshimiwa Spika. Isiwe katika maendeleo watu wakiuliza haki zao wanalemezwa na ukabila, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sisi watu wa pwani tumefinywa sana, na ukiangalia idara nyingi katika pwani, Mheshimiwa Spika, hata pale port kazi zinaandikwa, ukiangalia msururu ule ulioandikwa kazi, watoto wetu hawamo, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndio maana utaona mbunge kama huyu ndugu yangu Owen Baya ana ule uchungu ambao wa pwani tunasikia. Tunasema hivi, hatutetei ukabila, lakini tunasema mtu mcheza kwao na mtu akiwa kwao pate kile cha kwao. Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi tukiomba kama wapwani tumefinywa sana, rasilimali zetu zinaenda sehemu zingine. Na mimi nataka kusema kwetu tumekaribisha kila mtu, hatukatai, Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini idara hizi pia ambazo tumewapa mamlaka watu kutoka sehemu zingine za Kenya, ni haki wao kufanya kule kazi, lakini wasitufinye ikawa tunaona majina yanatoka kwengine wanaofaidi ni wa sehemu ambazo zinafaidi sana, na sisi wapwani tunabaki nyuma, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndio maana wengi wamemtafsiri vibaya ndugu yangu Owen Baya, ni ile uchungu anayojua sisi wa pwani tunafuatia, Mheshimiwa Spika. Sisi tunataka mtu akipewa idara katika pengine kule port, angalie watoto wa kipwani. Ndio hapa hii 70% inavyosemwa na constitution, mimi naiangalia, ama nitaenda kuchukua kina mwafulani kutoka kwetu nyumbani ndio waje wapewe kazi pale, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa mfano mdogo, Mheshimiwa Spika, chakula sisi kama wabunge wa pwani tuliweza kuapply kule katika asal chakula cha kupatia wale watu wetu ambao wana njaa. Mheshimiwa Spika, inatamautisha hata wale viongozi wa dini, mashehe wetu wamekwenda kuulizia, kwa sababu ni haki yao toka kila mwaka, na najua wale wanyonge katika jamii wanaweza kupewa hichi chakula, Mheshimiwa Spika. Walivyokwenda katika idara fulani, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwenda kuuliza, wakaambiwa hichi chakula kitapewa mtu fulani ambaye ni wa chama fulani ndio ambaye atakisambaza kaunti nzima. Mheshimiwa Spika, rasilimali zetu zisifanyiwe siasa. Hii ndio maana unaona hata ndugu yangu Owen Baya amekuwa mkali, kwa sababu mambo mengi yanafanywa kufinya watu wengine, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kama sisi sote tunafuata sheria ya Kenya katika mambo ya idara ya mikoa, basi tuangalie kuwa kila mmoja, kila Mkenya anapata haki yake kulingana na katiba, Mheshimiwa Spika. Spika. Haiwezekani chakula kwa mfano kimetoka kule katika idara ya asal kikija Mombasa, unaambiwa nyinyi mashekha mwezi kuchukua chakula, kitachukuliwa na mbunge fulani ndio ambaye atasambaza kaunti nzima. Chakula hicho si cha kufanyiwa siasa, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi leo napinga hapa vikali nikisema, wabunge wenzangu, tuangalie ukishachaguliwa katika kiti, usianze kufinya wananchi. Una vitu vingi ambavyo uweza kuwafanyia wananchi, lakini mambo ambayo yanahusiana na taifa nzima, yanahusiana na kila Mkenya, wewe lazima uangalie kuwa yule mwenye idara amepewa mamlaka ya kuangalia kila mmoja bila kuangalia chama, kabila na rangi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndio maana leo sisi kama wapwani tunasema tumefinyika sana. Sisi idara nyingi watoto wetu wamesoma Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwaoni kule sehemu zingine wala hatuwaoni nyumbani. Ikiwa kama mgao wa idara tofauti unatokea mambo ya kikazi, professionalism, Mheshimiwa, na sisi pia tuna watoto wetu wamesoma. Kama watapelekwa kwa majani chai tuwaone wako kule, tutashukuru. Wale wakija kwetu tutapokea, lakini sio kule kwao wanachukua kila kitu na kwetu pia wanabwakura kila kitu, Mheshimiwa Spika. Huo ndio uchungu ambayo umeona ndugu yangu Owen Baya akisema. Na sisi tunasema wengi wape, usipowapa watajichukulia, Mheshimiwa Spika. Itafika wakati sisi tutaanza kubisha kila mlango, tuangalie na statistics na data zinaonyesha vipi. Ikiwa mpwani katika idara fulani ambayo iko nyumbani ameachwa nyuma, basi itabidi na sisi pia lazima tuingilie kati, tuangalie tunarekebisha vipi, Mheshimiwa Spika. Licha hayo yote, Mheshimiwa Spika, hii bill ni nzuri sana, itaweza kuleta maendeleo mazuri, licha ya kuwa tunajua counties wanafanya kazi zao na hawa ambao ni regional wenye idara kutoka kila mikoa wana kazi zao. Sisi tunawapa nguvu, isipokuwa Mheshimiwa Spika, wengine hujazana kwenye maofisi, hujui wanafanya kazi gani. Na sisi tunataka kusema hivi, uchumi uko mbaya. Hii mishahara ya kudondoa kila mahali kupatia watu wengi ambao hatuoni kazi yao, Mheshimiwa Spika, hiyo ndio tunasema ipunguzwe idadi. Tupate mtu ambaye aweza kufanya kazi kwa ustadi, mtu ambaye anaeleweka vizuri na uweledi wa kufanya kazi, awezi kufanya hata kama ni watu 6 badala ya 11, Mheshimiwa Spika, ama 7 kama ilivyokuwa zamani. Pia Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi tutashukuru sana, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kama mama Mombasa, naunga mswada huu, ila nasema urekebishwe uweza kugusa kila jamii ya taifa hili, na ugatuzi pia uheshimike ndani ya mamlaka haya. Watu waangalie kuwa wenye mji, wenye mtaa, wenye nchi pia wanapata vipi haki zao, Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo naunga. Asante sana, Mheshimiwa Spika.
Asante sana. Kwa mara ya kwanza nimepata jambo ambalo limewaunganisha wewe na Owen Baya. Next to speak on this is the Honorable Rikiri Mugambi.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Indeed, this is a key bill in this House. Mr. Speaker, the regional development authorities have a history. But Mr. Speaker, times are changing. The way we used to see regional development is no longer valid because there are so many things that have changed. Mr. Speaker, time has come to review the operations of this regional development. Mr. Speaker, some of these regional development authorities were formed because of what was being seen as marginalization of certain areas of this country. Mr. Speaker, there are some counties or regions then which were not endowed economically. Mr. Speaker, there was need to uplift the standard of the economies of these regions, hence the creation of regional development authorities. Mr. Speaker, in terms of marginalization, there are some sections of this country which were never covered by these regional development authorities. Mr. Speaker, others were merged together. For example, the Lake Basin Development Authority. You find it is covering a very wide area of Western Kenya and Nyanza. Mr. Speaker, these organizations at one point lost focus on what they intended to do. Mr. Speaker, time has come to review what is called the marginalization criteria in this country. Mr. Speaker, there is a regional authority called Ewasonyilo North, which is centered somewhere in Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, I border Laikipia and I border Isiolo. Mr. Speaker, I share the same geographical conditions, climatic conditions. Yet, this regional development has no attention of the neighbors where I belong. That's Bori constituency. Mr. Speaker, the climate change has occurred. There are areas that were being seen to be so dry areas, as our areas. We have some other parts of central Kenya and eastern Kenya which need now to be also managed and given the benefit of regional development authorities. Mr. Speaker, there is now need to bring focus into the mandate of these regional development authorities. Mr. Speaker, many of them focused on water. Many of them focused on irrigation. Many of them focused on limited activities in as far as education is concerned, and even security. Mr. Speaker, we need to review the mandate of some of these regional development authorities because of the new constitution. The counties have assumed some of the responsibilities that these regional authorities are performing. The national government is still focusing on ensuring there is even distribution of resources in this country. And that is why I am really a student of the better plan, the bottom economic transformation agenda. Mr. Speaker, these regional development authorities must be aligned to the better plan. And this is the bill that is showing sign that we need to rearrange that. Mr. Speaker, we need to install professionalism in running of affairs of our authorities in this country. I agree with all the members of parliament who have said what we need in all these authorities and organizations in this country is professionalism. It doesn't matter where you come from. Mr. Speaker, if Amero can go and save Coast Province, that's what the deputy majority leader needs to embrace. It's not saying that somebody from Coast is being marginalized. How long are they going to climb marginalization? For 60 years they are climbing marginalization. We cannot cause the